Alright, another SmarkCast brought to you by Wrestling Heads, of course. It's going to be probably a short one because there's not a whole lot to talk about. We did just have a pay-per-view. A pay-per-view that makes me feel kind of like a mark because I actually enjoyed it while the majority, well, I would say majority, it's about 50-50. Some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. I actually really liked it. Most people I can see like on Twitter and stuff like that they hated it because Bryan lost. And to me, that's silly to hate an entire pay-per-view based on the outcome of one match. That kind of bugs me, especially since they had a solid 3 matches that were really good, and the rest of them were okay. I mean, there were missteps. The 6-man tag kind of sucked, and the Stardust Goldust thing sucked, except for the promo afterwards with Stardust was pretty sweet. But I have a feeling that Stardust and Goldust are going to bring it at WrestleMania because I think the whole match sucked because Goldust was holding back. It's just, and of course the Ambrose and Barrett thing wasn't that great because it ended weird. There were a lot of botches. I get that, but I think my whole new outlook on the WWE and all that about trying not to be negative anymore and being positive, I think that's kind of seeping in. So we'll figure it out. But there is a few things that were actually really decent. The Usos and Brass Ring Club was actually extremely good. It was amazing, just the back and forth stuff. And the Brass Ring Club won, which I predicted. By the way, I only got one thing wrong on my predictions, which doesn't say much because it was kind of a predictable card. But the one that I got right, I look on Twitter and I don't see a whole lot of people everyone had pretty much the same reaction. I'm shocked the Brass Ring Club won, kind of thing. It's like, I wasn't shocked at all. That's who I expected to win. That's who I predicted to win. It seems like the general consensus here is that the Usos were going to win and face the Ascension at WrestleMania. And I just did not see that happening because I truly think that WWE has kind of given up on the Ascension. I mean, you gotta look at the way their career has progressed since coming to the main roster. They started off beating jobbers, and then they were saying, hey, we're going to give them a chance. We'll give them a real team. Let's give them Goldust and Stardust. Goldust and Stardust looked great in that match, and the Ascension looked terrible. They just didn't come off as a viable tag team. So maybe they need a little more work. So they brought them back down and gave them jobbers again. And then they said, we're going to give them another shot. Let's give them a team that's definitely can make them look good. Let's give them the New Age Outlaws. New Age Outlaws come in, and New Age Outlaws look fantastic, and the Ascension did not. The Ascension did not look good at all. In fact, the New Age Outlaws wrestled circles around Ascension in that match. And I think at that point, the WWE was kind of like, I don't know about these guys. So, and it doesn't help that they get crickets in New Jersey. Like New Jersey usually will boo the crap out of you even if they hate you, and they'll boo the crap out. They'll cheer you if they like you, And when they showed up in New Jersey, crickets. They didn't get a thing. It was completely quiet in that building. And that's not good. You want boos or you want cheers. You don't want silence. Silence is the absolute worst. And that's what the Ascension gets. No one likes the Ascension. It's not really the fact of who the Ascension is. It's their character. They're a ripoff of Demolition and Legion of Doom, and LOD, if you will. And they're not as good as either of them. And they come out there and they made the biggest mistake when they came out there and talked about being better than Legion of Doom and everything, that transpired from people saying that it was very disrespectful to Laurinaitis, who died. So it just didn't work out well for them. And they get in the ring and they're really not that impressive. They don't do anything impressive. I mean, people were talking about how they hate Cena because he only has 5 moves, and the Ascension has like 3. The Ascension, throw him in the corner, beat him up, clothesline, Fall of Man. And Fall of Man is not an impressive move. It's just a sweep and a kick at the same time. It's no Doomsday Device. It's no whatever Demolition called their move. It's no 3D. I mean, it's just not impressive. So WWE seems to have lost faith, and it all showed on Raw when they were beaten for the first time by pin by the Primetime Players, who, side note, Primetime Players I've always felt were an extremely underrated tag team. I thought they were fantastic together. They had a great chemistry. Darren Young is actually a really underrated guy. Titus O'Neil is probably not underrated, but Darren Young can carry him. So they get out there and they lose to PTP. Yeah, they did beat them down afterwards, so that's actually showing that they're trying. And what I think is PTP are going to be the sacrificial lambs. They are going to be the ones that are going to have to try to really boost Ascension, and I think that if the Ascension does not look good in this match, they're going to be kicked off Raw and repackaged. And personally, I'm 100% okay with that, because they really need it. They need to get rid of the shoulder pads, they need to get rid of the face paint, and come out there and just be ass kickers, you know? So, no. I'm not okay with the. I'm not good with the Ascension, and it looks like we're getting Usos and Brass Ring Club again. And on Raw, Natty did a full heel turn, which is amazing. I love Natty, and I've loved her as a heel. Now she's a heel again. Awesome. And I'm thinking we may, what I would like to see, if we don't get Natty versus Naomi in a regular match, probably on the pre-show or something like that, if we don't get that, I wouldn't mind seeing a 6-man tag match with the belts on the line. Like, because that'd be pretty cool to have Natty pin Naomi and the Brass Ring Club gets to keep the belts. It would also be a way to continue the feud for one last blow-off. But actually, if Natty beats Naomi, that's the end. So the thing is, where does Brass Ring Club go from here? They don't really have anyone else. It was pretty much Brass Ring Club, Usos, and maybe Goldust and Stardust, and they're gone now. So pretty much the only 2 tag teams are Brass Ring Club and Usos. I mean, you've got the Ascension, but no one wants to see that. But I actually really enjoyed that match, Usos and Brass Ring Club. It was really, really excellent. And I was not surprised at all that they got the belts. It looks like, you know, people hate the Total Divas. You know, they hate the show. I don't like the show. But, I mean, if you look at it right, that show just got Tyson Kidd a belt. Just got Tyson Kidd and Cesaro a belt. So, 2 guys who have been deserving of a belt for a really long time finally got one. So, which brings me to my point about Fastlane. A lot of people hated on Fastlane, but Fastlane, I think, brought legitimacy to every single belt. U.S., Intercontinental, Tag, excuse me, Tag, and WWE. Even the Divas a little bit. The Divas match wasn't really that bad. It was a decent match. It ended early because of the whole wardrobe malfunction, but you know, it was decent the way it was going. I was actually impressed. But it brought legitimacy to every belt. The tag team belts, like that hard-fought match, that ups the value. Believe it or not, I mean, I don't know if people who are casual watchers of wrestling realize, but Ambrose stealing the Intercontinental title, like actually stealing it, actually brings a lot of legitimacy to a title, because it means he wants it. He wants it so bad that he's willing to steal it. It's the Eddie Guerrero style. Just come in there and steal what you want. And what it looks like now for the Intercontinental title is a fatal 4-way between Barrett, Ambrose, Ziggler, and R-Truth. And the big thing on Twitter was like, how are you going to have Barrett versus 3 faces? That's not fair. Ambrose isn't a face. Ambrose is a tweener. Ambrose doesn't exactly do heel things. He doesn't actually do face things. He's kind of just set back, you know. And stealing that title was a heel move. shoulder checking Ziggler on Raw was a heel move, but the crowd reaction and beating on Bad News Barrett is a face move. So you have many options here, and I think Ambrose walks out with the title at WrestleMania, but who knows? Maybe not. So, although that match did suck, so it did bring legitimacy to the Intercontinental title. And then you had the Rusev and Cena match, which I seem to be in the minority on this one because personally I thought that match was great. I thought it was really good. I thought Rusev told a story. He was just so awesome in that match. And there's not really a better seller in the WWE right now. I mean, Ziggler oversells, and then you got Rusev, who sells perfectly. He'll limp when you're working on his leg. He'll hold his arm, and he won't use it for the rest of the match if you're working on his arm. And then during this match, Rusev was the unstoppable force. He was the person that Cena just could not beat. STF, crossface. He even kicked out of an AA, and it's like finally, even though he technically cheated, Rusev won. He overcame. And on Raw, it looks like we're going to get Rusev versus Cena at WrestleMania, and Cena's taken the America route, which is defending America, And personally, I don't get that, because I personally think that Rusev and the whole thing kind of makes America seem bad. Like, it's kind of making us look like, because if you're not American, we don't like you. And it's kind of weird. So I'm not a big fan of that. And really, beyond kicking Cena in the balls, Rusev really hasn't done anything heelish. So I don't see him as a heel. I just don't get the whole America against everybody thing. And I'm American, and that's weird. So, but the match itself was awesome. Even Cena looked good. So Cena and Rusev pulled off a great match, which leads me to WrestleMania, where I think Cena will win it. But I just have a feeling that Rusev can get out of this without looking real bad. He can, if he even looks half as good as he did at Fastlane, he can get out of it without, even if he gets pinned clean, he'll get out of it without looking real bad. And I don't think it negates the win at all, because he did beat Cena. I mean, just because Savage beat Hogan doesn't mean that Hogan never beat Savage. So, it's a double-edged sword, though. It really is. Because you could ruin Rusev by having Cena win if you have him go over in a dominant way. After that, we had the WWE title getting legitimacy because you had Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan looking fantastic against each other. That was one of the best matches of the night. Still think Usos and Brass Ring was the best match of the night. But I mean, it was just a really good match, and Reigns actually looked great, and it was easily Reigns' best match, and he held his own in there. Daniel Bryan did most of the work, but Reigns held his own, and it was a great match. Reigns won. Everyone knew he was going to. I said he would do it clean. I said there would be no shenanigans, and that's what happened. He won clean. And then on Raw, Daniel Bryan put him over verbally, and Paul Heyman put him over verbally, which kind of constitutes shoving him down our throats, which I'm not a fan of, but still. Either way, it was a good match. So I really enjoyed it, and it made the WWE title look great because both of these guys fought and scratched to really get a shot at this title. And it makes the WWE title seem important. But other than the matches themselves, there were a few backstage segments at Fastlane that were great. The Stardust promo, I mean, that dude's promo work has been killer lately. I don't like Stardust, but I'm liking the direction Stardust is taking right now. He seems to go a little less for the crazy like Cosmos guy, and now he's going more towards the just angry brother thing, the angry he's mad and he doesn't want to be a part of this legacy anymore. If you can hear that, my dog is drinking water and it's really freaking loud. Yeah, it's annoying. But so I'm just loving. I think I'm liking Stardust's direction. I think it took a step back at Raw though, because he put the onesie on and he had the full face paint, where at Fastlane he had half face paint and no shirt, and then he had just the pants, which I think he looked great like that. And hopefully this leads to, if we have to have Stardust, hopefully it leads to a happy medium where we get Stardust but with a little Cody Rhodes in there. I don't know. We'll see. Also, we had the what I thought was segment of the night. It may, to me, actually been the highlight of the night, which is why I saved it for last. The lights go out. We see the minions. We hear the song. We hear the gong. And granted, right as soon as the minions came out, I said, okay, this is Bray Wyatt. But still, it was just, that right there was the Bret Hart of segments, or promos, if you will. It was excellently executed. I know at least 50% of those people actually thought that was Taker. So, and it was just beautiful the way they got the casket. It was just perfect. The casket opens up and it's Bray Wyatt, of course, but it was still excellent. It was still done so well. And his promo afterwards, talking about being the new face of fear and to come find him, is just, it was just so beautiful the way it was all put together. I actually watched it twice. It was so good. And the new rumor out there is that The Undertaker will not be on any Raws or SmackDowns. He will just show up at WrestleMania, which I'm a little upset about, but I think I'm okay with it, because I think that Bray Wyatt can carry a feud by himself. And I also think that just because Undertaker's not going to be there doesn't mean they can't do pre-filmed promos. They can't do remember in the 90s when he was in that casket match and the casket was being wheeled off, and then the lights went out and they came back on, and on the big screen was the Undertaker in the coffin coming back to life, and then the lightning struck and he disappeared. They can have stuff like that. They just did a whole Triple H and Sting feud without Sting even saying a word. So they can do that. And that leads me to my final honorable mention, which was Triple H and Sting. I called that one too, saying that Sting wouldn't say a word. He would just point at the sign, which he did. However, I did not call that they would actually brawl, because I didn't think that happened, and they did. And what really surprised me was Triple H got the upper hand for a solid 5 minutes, and I was like, wow, he's actually beating the crap out of him. And then Sting came back with the bat and pointed at the sign, and it was a cool segment, and I think it's going to be a great match. But and I think it's going to be great for nostalgia and all that, and that's all it is. It's a nostalgia match. It's a match to get Sting a match in the WWE, to give him legitimacy to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. So, and that leads me to the Bushwhackers. I did get a few questions. What do I think about the Bushwhackers going into the Hall of Fame? And I'm going to say it like this. And it's going to be kind of negative, and I don't like being negative anymore, but I'm going to be negative. The Hall of Fame is a joke. There's no physical Hall of Fame, and some of the people who get into the Hall of Fame don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people think Mike Tyson doesn't deserve to be in the fame. That's crap. Mike Tyson does, because he helped usher in the Attitude Era. So, and he helped them win the ratings. But people like Coco Beware, and unfortunately the Bushwhackers. If you're going to put the Bushwhackers in, you might as well put Santino in, because the Bushwhackers were extremely popular, and they were very I don't know, I can't think of the word, but they did win a lot of titles outside of the WWE. I think they're one of the few people that have won a tag team belt in every continent except the WWE, but never won it in the WWE, which is a great accomplishment. But as for the WWE, they were a joke. They were basically a jobber tag team. Yeah, they won a few matches, and they were very well liked, but in the end, they weren't really special. And as I said, if you're gonna put the Bushwhackers in, you might as well put Santino in. I mean, the only thing I can think of is they need to start a jobber wing. But the real reason that I'm upset about the Bushwhackers going in is because Demolition should have gone in before them. And I did make the argument that Demolition, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, they should have all gone in as tag teams. But the argument can be made that the Bushwhackers were first. Yes, the Dudleys are more deserving, but through just being there before, I can cancel out that group of people. And really, those four teams were all in the same era, so that's going to be weird to see who gets in there first. I think the Dudleys will, because the Dudleys are probably the greatest tag team of all time. But the Bushwhackers, I'm just not a fan of them going in. I'm thinking you might as well put, that was my phone, thinking you might as well put Bad News Brown in there. So, I'm going to turn my phone off here. That happened just now on the SmarkCast. That happened. But that's actually my cue, because I wanted to keep it under 30 minutes, because I seem to get a lot more views when it's under 30 minutes. So, and that's my dog walking. His paws on the linoleum. Awesome. So, I think I covered pretty much everything. The only thing I really could cover beyond that is the Give Divas a Chance hashtag, which I think is pretty great, but I mean, is it going to work? We don't know. I hope so. And the rumor is Charlotte's going to be at WrestleMania, so that's pretty cool. But either way, this will be on WrestlingHeads.com, and you'll be able to watch it there. And if you want to reach me, I am at SmarkCast on Twitter, and smarkcast@gmail.com is my email if you have some questions. All I could say is shout out to the Wrestling Heads and Elite Podcasts Network, because both of them are killing it right now, and I do mean killing it right now. And this Sunday, you want some good wrestling? Ring of Honor's got a pay-per-view. You need to check it out. But until then, until next time, probably next Tuesday, next Wednesday, this is the SmarkCast. Thanks for watching.